Hey everyone, how's it going today? And welcome back to another third/fourth stimulus check unemployment benefits extension update. So in today's update, I really want to just try to clarify and list out and try to make clear which are the specific states that are currently still doing some kind of extended benefits unemployment program. Because as most of you guys probably know from the last video which I made, which I'll put at the end screen once again because it talks about which programs are still currently continuing, the big programs that are still currently happening, really to just clarify, is pretty much just a traditional UI. It's not necessarily continuing, but the applications are still open if you are interested in trying to apply for the MEUC Mixed Earners Program. If that sounds confusing, definitely check out that video at the end. I believe it's literally just called which programs are still continuing. You'll know which one it is. It came out yesterday. And one of the programs that we talked about is about the FedEd/the EB Extended Benefits Program. So I really want to just clarify which states are still actually currently on the program. Now, you might have seen another resource or another video or some other article that's been talking about it. However, I want to go into even greater details about how to actually physically get it, answer certain questions. If you have another question right now, feel free to just comment it down below. There were also certain changes, and I tried to cross-check it across state to state. So there are certain corrections that I think were not fully clarified, like something, for example, about New York that I think changed. So I want to just really give you guys all of the details. So as always, we're going to start right away. But before we maybe read out the states, I do want to maybe make a very huge important notice is that everything that we will be talking about in this video is going to be for people that are either on the traditional unemployment or were on the traditional unemployment before it ended, or some variation of the traditional unemployment. Because remember, in unemployment, there are two paths. There's the path of traditional. If you walk the path of traditional, your progression is going to be from the traditional unemployment to the PUC and then to the FedEd/the EB program. And then the second path is pretty much the PUA. So what we are going to be talking about is something that's specifically for anyone that is on traditional or was on traditional and some variation, not for people that is on the PUA. Now, with that being said, if you happen to be on the PUA, maybe this could potentially be an interesting video to watch, especially maybe if you do end up wanting to take a chance to try to apply for the traditional unemployment, especially since PUA has sadly already officially ended. So maybe this is something that's going to be insightful, but I figured I would just make it super clear right now before we go forward. So as always, we're gonna get started right away, but maybe as always, before we begin, remember to smash the like button because it is always greatly appreciated to show support, although you guys can decide. Consider subscribing and hitting the bell for similar videos like this. And as always, feel free to comment any questions, thoughts about honestly just really anything at all. So with that being said, let's get this video started. Now, when it comes to the states that are currently doing the FedEd/the EB program extended benefits, as we talked about in, again, one of the previous videos, definitely check it out if you want more information about that. We'll just state it on the spot, is going to be in California, Texas, Illinois, Nevada, Connecticut, New Jersey, and New Mexico. Within all of these states, I believe California, Illinois, Nevada, and Texas is hoping to extend it through the extended benefits program by essentially just about one more week. So essentially now unemployment there is going to end specifically on September 11th. So you still get a little bit of time, 1 to 2 extra weeks. Of course, we do wish for more, but at least it is something that's ahead of a lot of states. Certainly a lot of the states that sadly had to end even before the September 2021 timeframe that we originally believed. Now, the other three states that we also just mentioned that is still going to be continuing in some way, which is going to be in Connecticut, New Jersey, and New Mexico. Those three states, I believe, is that they are currently on their extended benefits. However, the extended benefits program is going to be essentially going on in those states for either 13 weeks or whenever the trigger system system is reached, which is basically something we're going to talk about in a little bit. However, right now at this time, I believe in those 3 states, they do not have a confirmed date about when it's specifically going to end. The other states did give a specific date. These 3 states have not given a confirmed date yet. Maybe if you do have information, feel free to comment down. I'll definitely try to update if we do get something, so maybe consider subscribing if that is something of interest. Now, there were also a couple of other states that I do know is that there were resources that were stating that they were going to get an extended benefits. However, I tried to cross-check it and they are unconfirmed at this time. The 2 states I believe that are unconfirmed is pretty much going to be in Alaska and in DC. Those 2 states, I believe, is that it is believed by many people that they are continuing their benefits. However, they have not really released any kind of concrete information, so we don't know for sure whether or not they are going to be continuing it any further. However, there is one state I do know is that there have been resources that have been stating that they will be continuing their unemployment benefits, and one of those states happens to be in New York. The sad thing is that New York actually, even though you might have heard that New York is going to be continuing their extended benefits program, the sad thing is that I believe in New York is that they actually will no longer be continuing their extended benefits program. And how do I know this is because a lot of people, I believe, use a resource that was supposed to be supposedly on the FedEd website. But the big thing is that website was actually updated from about back in August. And a lot of things have actually changed. Even though it's been 2 weeks, information changes very fast. And how do I know that New York is sadly not going to be continuing their EB extended benefits is because I live here. So essentially, because of that reason, I actually get the emails and information, thank goodness, which is really awesome, is that I actually get a lot of the emails and information still because I'm still on the newsletter for people that were, or currently are still unemployed in New York. So because of that reason, this should probably, I think it's fair to say, is that if you're getting an email directly from the Department of Labor, it's probably the most accurate information you will find almost anywhere. And being that I am someone that happens to live here, huge love to New York, I can kind of confirm all of these details for you guys, being someone that's actually physically here with you guys, living it on the first-hand basis. Now, if you are looking for the specific details about what is the trigger system that's going to activate or end these unemployment programs, this pretty much should highlight all of the details. So if you see, or if I didn't read off your state, then it probably means that your state has either hit the unemployment rate that triggered the ending to this specific program, which is the reason why they are no longer doing it. And again, this changes and happens super, super fast. It's either because they already hit the trigger system, or it's because your state decided to just end it. Because it is something that's going on, is that there are states that can just voluntarily decide that they don't want to do it anymore. And so it is something very similar to how there were many states that kind of ended the program in its entirety even before September. It is something that states can also decide to end as well if they end up finding it necessary. Now, in terms of where you can find new information, probably the best bet to really be able to find the most accurate information is to either try to follow the email newsletters that you guys get when you guys get those newsletters inside of your email, updating you about what's been going on in your state, or if you just want to get proactive about it, probably the best bet. But again, keep in mind is that there are some states that are just simply put a little bit quiet about it. So that's why it's hard to sometimes confirm certain things, but we try our best. So maybe consider smashing the like button if that is something. But the big thing to look into is that try to Google up extended unemployment benefits. So extended like the word extended, unemployment like the word unemployment, and then benefits, and then just put your state next to it. And then you should hopefully try to find some kind of official information, especially if it actually comes directly from your state's unemployment website. If you happen to be in California, just because there's a different name for it, look up FedEd, so FED like Fed, like Fed up, Fed, FED dash ed, ED, and then just put California, and you should be able to find information about that. Now, in terms of how to actually physically get onto this program, so in the huge majority of these states, it's actually an automatic process. So that is the really, really great news. I know it was definitely automatic in California. It was definitely automatic in New York while it was lasting, but of course we know what ended up happening. However, there may be a few states that you may have to apply or just simply put in like a very quick like application about it. It's very, very quick. I believe it takes not even more than 10 minutes. In fact, most states it will be automatic, so you may not even have to do anything. It's just that there are few select states. It is hard to find information, admittedly, about which states are doing what because there's so much variation, which is hence the reason why I highly recommend to maybe just try to Google up your state and then extended benefits, because that is probably going to be the most accurate information. But I do know is that in the overwhelming majority of it, it should be automatic. Really, so far, the majority of the programs have actually very much been automatic, even when they were around. The PUC was automatic. Both the PUC from the second stimulus package and the third stimulus package was automatic. The Fed Ed and the EB was automatic in most states, the overwhelming majority of them. I believe is that the only program that you probably will have to apply for if you just happen to be interested in it so far is really just the MEUC, which is the Mixed Earners Program. Again, if that sounds very confusing, I'll put two videos at the very end. One that talks about the programs available, one that talks specifically about the MEUC, which is the name of the video about the MEUC is called the $400 boost. So definitely check that out at the very end screen. But that really should be the only program that if you were interested in trying to get on it, that you maybe will have to potentially apply for it, if you are interested, of course. Now, in terms of how much money you will be getting if you're able to continue onto this program, is that this is pretty much where you'll be able to get paid purely just your state benefits. So basically, it's everything that you've been collecting for the last several weeks minus $300 if you were on a state that of course continued, because there were a couple of states that ended earlier. But it's essentially basically just everything that you've been doing for the majority of people minus $300. Essentially, it's just pretty much going to be your state benefits, but not without the $300 FPUC program, because that one sadly ended. Of course, it was obviously very glorious while it was happening. But essentially beyond this that's pretty much what I really just wanted to cover in this update. So I believe we read basically about 7 states that still have it. Some of them it's really only going to be for another 1 to 2 weeks. Others it's still a little bit uncertain. But as always, feel free to comment any questions, thoughts, or information if you have any as well. Because again, a lot of the most accurate information we will always find is going to be coming from the people that are specifically living in that particular state, living it firsthand, which is also the reason why I was able to kind of confirm it from New York, since I actually get, again, as mentioned, a lot of the actual physical emails that I think that only people, a true New York blood or just a true person that actually lives in New York can have access to. So if you guys found that relatively insightful, maybe consider smashing the like button. As always, feel free to comment any questions, thoughts, consider subscribing and hitting the bell for similar videos. I'll put other videos. And as always, if you guys made it this far, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay well, and hope to see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much again.